At first it was just like, gold rush like poppers, then I started smoking weed, and it was cocaine, mushrooms, LSD, amphetamine, bubble, MDMA, ketamine, salvia, black mamba, just anything really, anything what would get me off my head really.
Imagine a capital city where in a single night...
They're banned in other countries, so why are pills which mimic the effects of drugs like ecstasy and speed freely available in the UK? Flying Angel and Silver Bullet are just two products
getting out of very illegal doesn't actually make it safe. It doesn't necessarily need to be legal either. So it's getting some of these...
I've got experience with cannabis, cocaine, ketamine, MDMA, pills, amphetamine, and then legalised such as bubble and the legal ketamine.
Coke first, due to just wanting to fit in with them because they was all on it, and then it just went on from that. And then I started going hitting the rave scene a lot. That's when I got introduced to bubble. Just took anything then, much as I could.
The main drug for me, my sort of drug of choice, if you like, was cocaine. Obviously, sustaining the cocaine habit is really expensive. And then bubble started to come around the market, and a lot of my the last sort of 18 months or so of my using was a lot of bubble and stuff, just because it was cheaper.
Pretty much. I've worn the T-shirt. I've tried everything, all the hallucinogens. A lot of youngsters are doing it. A lot of college kids are doing it. You know, I spoke to some lads from my home area who use college for the main reason and they use it at weekends. They go in and they buy these party packs.
The majority, if we look at the legalised, such as bubble and that, most of that was going to sort of 16 to 19-year-olds.
Well, I started smoking, and then, when at school, there's a crowd of people, and the smokers are usually the ones that have parties and take drugs and do this. So I started smoking, then I started smoking weed because they did, and then bubble come out.
It was at a binge after a rave, and someone offered me a key or something. It just looked like crystal, so I thought it'd be MD or ket or something like that. So I just said yeah, and I don't know, it burnt my nose like nothing ever before, so. And that was when I first started taking it really.
I just like a rush. I didn't like it at all. I felt like I couldn't control myself.
And when Sophie was running away, she was away for 6 weeks at a time sometimes, and I had the police constantly bringing her home. She was drinking alcohol heavily and messing with boys as well at this point. But I knew what she was doing. That was really hard to stomach, to sleep at night. When you know what your kids are doing, it's sometimes harder to stomach than what you don't know, if you will.
It took me to somewhere so fast and so powerfully that it scared the living daylights out of me. I suffered palpitations, a tingling all over my body. I sweated profusely. It was as if somebody thrown a bucket of water over me. I got panicky, anxious, scared, very scared. I thought, Christ, I've done something here.
Once you take bubble, everyone gets to come down. And they're while you're taking it, and you run out, everyone's 1 minute, they're all, yeah, party, 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 and the next minute everyone's just sat there. We need some money, we need some money.
In moods, when she was on a come down, she was just irrational, really, really irrational for no reason whatsoever. I know teenagers have mood swings, but this was irrational mood swings, and it interfered. She's an extremely intelligent, very, very vibrant, confident girl that sort of had no control over herself.
You know, you'd feel groggy for a couple of days after a good binge. But normally, the worst of it happens within a few hours, but it's just unbearable because that come down is feels like your world's ending, you feel suicidal, you just don't want to be there at all.
All this talk getting old, it's getting me down, my love, like a cat in the bag, waiting to drown.
As time went on, I changed as a person. I became very angry, very erratic, very sort of up and down, do you know what I mean? I'd never know from 1 minute to the next I was going to respond, and other people didn't know how to be around me because they didn't know how I was going to react.
At first it just felt like, I don't know, like I wanted it, like I wanted it to have a good time. But when I didn't have it, I'd be in a mood and, I wouldn't want to go out, I wouldn't want to do anything.
Well, like I said, it ruined the relationship between me and my family. That was like almost non-existent. They still loved me unconditionally, but did not like me, didn't want to spend time with me.
I just thought everyone was against me. Didn't want anything to do with any of my family, any of my friends. In the end, I was just isolating myself. I'd be around at a friend's house and they'd be having a party, and I'd lock myself in a room on my own and just start. I'd be just getting off my head on my own in the end.
To start off with, I was just sort of using, and then I sort of started getting a bit more than I needed, or I'd have a bit of cash and then I'd sell on sort of the extras that I didn't want at that time, and that sort of started that way, but before long I was fully supplying.
It was awful. Like, she wasn't the same person that I knew. She had changed, her personality had changed.
I was still going to work, but my work started slacking off. Before I started taking drugs, I was in work and I'd do as many hours as I could, I was on a good wage and that, and then when I started taking drugs, that's all I could think about. I'd always be on my phone, planning my weekends or planning the night, just always thinking about when I could get drugs, really.
It definitely must have impacted her work life because she was having to take drugs in the morning just to get her through the day, and I know that she took them again during the day as well. And she said that it helped her to concentrate, but from what I'd seen of her when she'd been taking drugs, she didn't seem to me like she was able to concentrate.
I held down a good job for about 18 months for my using. Like heavy use, but only through, my boss understood, or I was honest with her about what was going on for me, and she tried to help me as much as possible, but eventually there was no way you could employ me, and I did lose my job through my drug use.
But some people were like, I can't cope, and they'd rob people. I never done that. I couldn't do that.
In the end, I was doing anything for them, robbing people, robbing my family, robbing anyone really, selling anything I can get, anything,
I have cut in the past. It depends on what I was sort of paying on it and how skint I was at the time. Sometimes I didn't sort of need to cut it down, but if I was cutting it down, I'd tend to mix it with either hay fever tablets or creatine powder, and then undercut the weights so they'd just be getting, very little bubble in it sometimes.
Paranoid delusions, looking out the window every 2 minutes, sitting with the lights off. She thought there was a police car across the road in the bottom of a field.
My turning point was when I got caught selling drugs in a club in Preston, and it was the worst feeling ever.
There was a point where I just thought they're going to ring me up and say they did. They rang me up and said they found asleep under a car.
I mean, the depression, the anxiety and stuff that just kicked in, I was completely suicidal, just couldn't see a way out and wanted to end my life.
She used to be really strong, confident, vibrant person who's the life and soul of the party. And in fact, I used to want to be like her, to be confident like her, to be beautiful like her. And she's not like that anymore at all. She's lost, vulnerable, totally different. It kills me to see that.
Really too late to call, so we wait for morning to wake you. It's all we got. To know me is hardly golden. It's to know me all wrong they were. At every occasion I'll be ready for a funeral. At every occasion once more is called a funeral. At every occasion I